think the model of the ideal man in American society, since it's a multicultural society, and all these races are pretty much represented in Egypt or America, and the natives have a very similar culture. So I think the ideal man should be, the model should be an Egyptian pharaoh, viewed as the top martial artist, who has anywhere from skin texture to, a kind of a white guy who's with a tan kind of color, to a dark, darker than Wesley Snipes kind of color. Okay, so this color thing is something we don't know. It's kind of the same idea with Islam, where you're not allowed to make an image of this person, but rather what this person represents. So the green skin of Osiris, for example, is rather appropriate. So as far as a person, this person is selfless. The so-called riches that the pharaoh amasses are not riches in the sense of the Western perspective. That is a Western perspective of these things. The true perspective was that these things are simply, things that serve a purpose, that bring about a certain end. So when you talk about, the materials of the pyramid, the gold, excuse me, I have my martial arts shirt on over this. I know I'm not dressed appropriately, but anyway, this is how I go out in the morning. It's a good example. Anyway, look at the gold, the materialism. We don't have the materialism. The selfishness, shallowness, conformity to liberalism and so on, the cowardice, the materialism, the evilness and lies. These are Western ideas of how Egypt should be ran, and the reason why Egypt finished collapsing, because there was already a certain degree of that within Egypt, because it's human nature, and we've dealt with many different cultures, and the worst parts of the other cultures eventually came back to haunt us. This is part of why multiculturalism, if not done in a way that has the true natural leaders in charge, will always fail. This is why it's failed so miserably. Look at the prisons, look at the violence, look at the substance abuse, the rape, the domestic violence, the human trafficking. I mean, multiculturalism brings a desire to exchange vices and not morality. And in the exchange of vices, one climbs to the top of the criminal underworld and then uses his money, power, influence, and knowledge to coerce, bribe, murder, poison, cheat, rob, and to connive their way into power, to be conniving. This is Western culture in its mainstream form. And it always has been that way. There's always been groups of white people who were good people. But the mainstream culture was chaos, savagery, pagan ruffians running around, raping and killing at will, with no sacred morality to keep it in check. Then there were a few honorable cultures that were trying to survive. And that is part of why some of them made it to remote areas. For example, the Asians, think about Eurasia, right? They said, look, we don't want to be forced to do what the pharaoh says, and we don't want to be the victims of white savagery. We're going over here. Okay? This kind of let's flee trouble philosophy does not work in contemporary society, where ancient paradigms are going to be reapplied. And the social change I will bring about will force even colleges to change their curriculum. All you secret societies, start putting your heads down right now in anticipation of the change that will come, like it or not.
We all know anytime I want, I could kill any cop I want, I could just simply walk up to him on duty, And I tell him like this. This was going to happen. You're going to take a defensive stance, so I'm going to stab you in the neck. While your blood is squirting and you've lifted up your gun just enough for me to grab it, I'm going to grab it with my left hand. And I do appreciate you taking it off safety as you were trained. And I'm going to shoot your partner in the face. Now, if you're noble, I'm going to stab you. I'm going to throw that bottle at his face. I'm going to jump across the table, and I'm going to finish him off. Are you ready? Go for it. Anytime you're ready, officer. Anytime you're ready. Go! 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 Any fucking questions? Snide remarks.